Hey guys, we have to have a very serious discussion. That's why the guitar's back there. So today we need to talk about something we call transcribing. Transcribing is a way to make something understandable and easier. It's not necessarily translation, but translation can be transcribing. In music, when we transcribe a piece, we put it in a format that we can play it either on a different instrument, which sometimes means we might have to use a different key or a different set of notes based on what the instrument is. The original key might not work, or we might need to put it in a different format, like we're gonna do now. So on page 32 of the book, we have the Star Spangled Banner. Hopefully you have passing familiarity with this song. It is a long song, so sorry, and it is in standard notation. Now for some of you, the hard thing is remembering what the note names are and then remembering where they're at. And so this exercise, transcribing it from standard notation into tablature, can make it easier even if you don't read from the tablature. Now, tablature is great, fine, and good, but there's lots of things it can't tell you. But one of the things that you can do as an exercise is to go back and forth between standard notation and tablature, finding tablature, transcribing it to standard notation, and a whole bunch of other things. This is a good skill. It helps you to understand, because tablature is just visual and shows you exactly where you put your fingers. But standard notation tells you about duration. How long is that pitch going to be? And so it's nice to be able to go back and forth just to be able to do it and understand the music on a different level while you play it. Now, many of you might have, destroyed your cheat sheet. I gave you a cheat sheet. I didn't intend to give you more than one. But if for whatever reason you have eaten your cheat sheet or used it to line the bottom of your bird cage, or I don't know. I don't know what it is that middle school students do with papers I give them. But if you don't have yours, you really should get it because it will make it easier. In the assignment, it tells you to come to me and get a piece of tablature. Now, I know that this is definitely not the way you want to see this because it's like backwards. It's like weird for you. And so, because mirroring makes more sense when I'm showing you what's up with the instrument. Okay, so this is only going to be so helpful. You'll notice that you can tell this is tablature because it's got, instead of 5 lines and 4 spaces, there are 6 lines, and it has the nifty word tablature right here. The first thing you do when you get a piece of tablature paper is make sure you know how many measures are in the Star Spangled Banners. Now these need to be complete measures, not like the first 2 pitches in the song are in an incomplete measure. But if you count all of them, then you'll know how many measures need to fit on this page. It makes sense to make your measures equidistant from each other, because then your eye doesn't have to compensate for the change in size of the measure and it won't get lost. If you look on the page, on page 34, all of these measures are the same size, and each line of music usually has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 measures. Like I said, it's usually 5 or 4, and it's easier to read all the way through. Please also remember that in each measure, things that happen on the first beat happen at the beginning of the measure. First beat, second beat, third beat, right? So make sure that makes sense for you. If you squish everything into the first part of the measure and leave a whole measure open, your eyes are going to think, oh, this must be a long note. You'll notice that on the page in traditional notation, notes take up horizontal space. The longer the note sounds, the longer that space is. You have more space after the note head. So make sure you try to mimic that. Now remember, are we going to use notes here? Not really. We are going to use numbers. The number corresponds with the fret. And remember, you have to put it on the correct line. Remember that in tablature, the top line is the first string, which is exactly opposite how it is when you play it. I know this makes no sense. I didn't set it up. Don't be mad at me. Make sure that you are knowing which line you're putting stuff on. And then you just go through. The first note is G, and then the second note is E. That G is the open third string. That E is the fourth string, second fret. You can put both of those there, and then that is done. Okay, it is really important that when you're done, you take a picture so I can see it in this for your Canvas class, but then you also come show me. And I will whip through it, and as long as yours is in the same format as it is in the traditional notation, I can correct it really fast. I'm kind of amazing. So there you go. That way we can make sure we've dispelled any misconceptions before you start using it. Have I asked you to play this yet? No, I have not. So it's all good. Take whatever time you need to do this and get this done before you all be starting on that. Because it's long. Many of you will give up and start whining. And that whining and actual guitar playing don't go together well. So I'm trying to make it so that you're going to whine about this, get this done, and then it will be much easier for you to play. You're welcome in advance. All right? So good luck. If you have trauma, come talk to me. I don't want you to... Trauma is inevitable. Trouble is inevitable in our lives. However, suffering is not. So I don't need you to have needless suffering. If you have a question and you're running into a problem, come ask me about it so I can help you, because suffering is optional. Trauma might not be, trouble might not be, suffering is. So, make sure you come talk to me. Let's get this taken care of. Good luck.